Am I the asshole? For not wanting my wife to refer to me by my first name when talking to my kids? My wife recently started using my first name when referring to me to our preteen kids. As in, Steve's gonna pick you up from school tomorrow. I asked her not to when I first heard it, saying I don't really like when you use my first name to the kids. Can you say your dad or dad? She said Steve is your name. I don't see the problem. But I eventually got her to see things my way. A couple months go by and I had heard her say it periodically. Like Steve can pick what to have for dinner. Finally today she did it again and I said, babe, I know we talked about it before, but can you please use your dad when talking to the kids? And she says it's totally subconscious. It's not like I mean to. You're probably going to have to remind me again like 50 times. At this point, I said that's not really acceptable. If you hear me and respect my wishes, it doesn't need an excuse or hedging. You can just say okay. She started getting upset, yelling and said I was being difficult and should just accept that she can't control it. I didn't think it needed a big discussion, and finally diffused the situation by saying sure. I believe you'll try. It just sounded like a cop-out for no reason, setting us up for the same discussion sometime down the road. Am I the asshole here? Info: how is it that this suddenly started to happen? My parents have been divorced not even amicably for over 25 years. My parents still refer to each other as your mother and your father and not by one another's names when talking to us. It's weird she's calling you by your name in front of your kids. Not the asshole. Not the asshole up. Something is going on here. Well, why does she suddenly need reminding your dad? I mean, she used to call you dad. Could get petty and refer to her by her name, but I suspect that's not going to go well. Maybe something bigger is going on? You're not the asshole, but there is something not right here. So my husband and I had this exact same fight. It really was unconscious on my behalf. When he started calling me by my first name to the kids, I didn't even notice, which unfortunately frustrated him more. Lol. But once he pointed out what he was doing and how important it was to him to be called dad, I made a serious conscious effort to always call him dad, not the asshole. For all the folks thinking something else is going on, that's a reach. For me it was just laziness because there was so much else on my mind. Seriously. Info: I am the father of our kids. I don't think she's cheating. I have downvoted negative comments on here or speculation. We love each other. The main question was about her reaction to me doubling down. It could have been seen as a criticism, like her best isn't good enough. But I called BS, which she then took exception to. Was it an thing to not accept her explanation? I feel like the verdict is in. It's okay to stand up for how I want to be represented. I'm going to work on arriving at that without making her feel like she's not enough. Scissor. Edited for format. One up her and change your name to dad. Is this a cultural thing? Parents in my family use their spouse's first name often. I've never thought twice about it. And the kids certainly don't. Honestly, I have gotten off the phone with my mom and used my husband's name when talking to the kids right after. The kids, however, very quickly would say one of two things. You mean dad? Or who is Steve? He has done the same to me. This seems quite different though. A slip up when you have a lot on your mind seems very different than what is happening here. My husband has done it a bit more lately, but I know it's because he is stressed right now. His dad just got put on hospice, so he is a bit spacey. The phone thing was right after I was walking my mom through paperwork when my dad passed. Not the asshole. My dad's name is Bob. Never in my 50 years have I ever heard my mother say Bob will pick you up at the train. It's always Dad will. Her new habit is weird. And WHT's more annoying is you have asked her not to and she makes excuses whining that she can't. Which is BS. Why would she be doing that as a new behavior? Weird. Her excuses are weird too. Not the asshole. Go Saints. I do not get this. My sister's family is a yours, mine, ours thing and their kids have gone through stages of calling each parent mom, dad, or the kid calling them by their first name. My nephew was raised by my sister and bro-in-law his stepdad. He has never really called him dad ever but acknowledges him as his father. My step-niece just recently as of a few years started calling my sister mom. Unless you're like a bio parent then this seems weird, otherwise maybe it's just the stage the kids are in. Your wife? No clue, this seems fake. Not the asshole. In this household my name is mom and nothing else. I would want to know what's up if that suddenly changed after so many years. Not the asshole. Is your wife deliberately trying to get under your skin? Honestly, if it weren't for confusing the kids, I would do it right back to her and let her see how it feels. There's no way she isn't doing this on purpose. It's so counterintuitive and weird. Nah, people here are reading too much into it. It can get super uncomfortable to always refer to one's spouse as mom, dad. I bet mommy pig and daddy pig are in a sexless marriage. You keep saying you identify as their father. Do they have a bio father who has recently come back into their lives? Man, I'm 28 and still call my dad dad and my mom still says your father. I think my mom has referred to my dad as Michael to me like 5 times in my life and it was usually when she was mad at him. I'm disappointed at the paranoia of many of these comments. Our child has always called us by our names like the rest of the world, including our parents. Refers to us either by name or my mom, dad, but still loves and respects us as their parent without the sky falling or anyone being confused about our relationships. Nah. Op. You are in an adult relationship. Most of the people are either not or are the reason they aren't in one. If your kids still call you dad, why does it matter? You need to ask yourself why it is so important that your adult wife, who knows and uses your real person name, is not allowed to do that around your kids? I can see your complaints about her not respecting your wishes about something she only recently started doing. But I also understand where she is coming from, that it shouldn't matter. Unless you're the stepfather, who is frequently referred to by their name, but which you seemingly are not. This makes no sense. Not the asshole. Did she call her parents by their first names? Do your kids call her by her first name? This is just weird. A little shocked by all the responses here. I'm going with nah. It's annoying that she slips up, but it's also not crazy that she thinks about you as a person with a name. Your kids are growing up, I'm guessing, and she's going out of manic mom mode where she constantly translates the world to them. Not the asshole. She'd probably be pissed as hell if you ignored any boundaries she has. Why is she ignoring this simple request? She can control it since you said she's only started doing it recently. What has she said the last 10 years? That guy who lives with us will take you. She needs to respect your feelings and fucking try harder. Not the asshole. She's referred to you as dad their whole lives up until this point, I'm assuming. So what's her excuse for all of a sudden referring to you by your name? I call BS on her claiming she's been doing that for years. Otherwise your kids would have probably been calling you that instead of dad. Not the asshole. She isn't slipping up or forgetting. She only recently started using your given name. Presumably, in their younger years, she referred to you as dad around the kids. If she has trouble remembering, start referring to her as babe to the kids. I bet she'll start remembering soon enough.